Horror in this upscale neighborhood. A woman wielding a pickaxe smashes in windows. Behind the windows, a newborn baby is sleeping.
The family who just moved in and put their life savings into their dream home now says they're too frightened to come back.
My wife, my kid can't even come home. They're terrified. They don't want to come home.
That scream is from the infant's grandmother who's babysitting. It's a terrifying attack. The assailant, armed with the axe, is wearing a fancy floral skirt. Cops say she's 65 years old.
Questions?
And listen to this threat.
Questions, anyone? I'll be back. Get out.
He says if it weren't for the quick-thinking grandmother, it would have been much worse.
She immediately grabbed the baby. And then as she looked up, she sees this crazy lady with a massive pickaxe about to swing it again. If she was 5 seconds late, my daughter would no longer be with us.
Look at the giant shards of glass in the baby's bassinet.
The axe-wielding woman lives here just around the corner. A neighbor told me she appears to have mental health issues and sometimes screams obscenities at all hours of the day.
After a 30-minute standoff, cops arrested Beverly Baker.
Bob!
Hold on, just relax.
Bob!
Just relax, Nathaniel.
I got an arrest warrant.
Yeah, you're Tamika, right?
Ow!
Just turn around for me, okay?
I'm trying to ask how.
DNA from the male members of the household, and it was confirmed through DNA testing at the OSBI to match. Part of the reason charges were filed on the parents was because there was no intervention to prevent any type of improper actions towards this child at the time who couldn't fend for herself.
Bitch! You want to punch me in the fucking face?
He's charged with strangling his pregnant wife, but still called on the judge to release him.
Does that mean I'm getting a bond today?
The judge thought about it for maybe a second.
No.
When he returned to court today, the judge set bail at $1 million. 38-year-old computer consultant Lee Gilly stands accused of killing his wife, Krista, who was 9 weeks pregnant with their third child. The physical therapist seemed happily married, posting this wedding photo on her Facebook page. Liza McGilvery is Krista's best friend.
Krista was the best mom, and that's what she lived for. She was so excited to have a third child.
Cops say Krista's husband called 911 saying she had committed suicide with a drug overdose, but police say there was evidence of bruising and trauma to her face.
Lee Gilly apparently told investigators the couple had gotten into some kind of an argument over the purchase of a vehicle earlier in the day.
And here's a disturbing fact. Homicide is the leading cause of death for pregnant women.
New at 6, questions about the fuel one woman says she bought at Costco. A mechanic showed her how the gas from her car was mixed with water. But she says Costco won't make it right.
It was shaking like this and the engine light kept flashing.
Michelle Rabinovich says when that happened, she rushed her 2022 Volkswagen into the dealer.
And it does not look that pretty.
Where they showed her this video evidence that her car's gas was contaminated with water.
They were like, you have bad gas. We have to drain all the gas and put new gas in, clean everything out before we do that.
Rabinovich knows where the gas came from, the only place she and her family buy gas. The same place that even the coat she's wearing in this interview came from, the Sandy Springs Costco.
And so I went straight to Costco thinking that they would stand behind their product, and they did not.
It shouldn't mix like that. As you can see all that debris in the bottom, it should be clear.
Even though Rabinovich provided Costco this video from her mechanic and the proof she purchased the gas at Costco, they denied her claim.
That sample, I can promise you, would fail.
Now this is truly disturbing footage. Watch as Bianca Ellis, a killer, stalks a mother and her young child as they walk out of a grocery store. Notice how Bianca is carrying a knife with her. You won't even believe what happens next. The woman in that video was 32-year-old Bianca Devins. And after she walked off camera in that video, she stabbed a 3-year-old child to death and also stabbed the child's mother, Margot. The victim, 3-year-old Julian Wood, was a normal boy. And according to everyone reporting on this case, he and his mother had no connection to Bianca whatsoever. This was a completely random act of violence. Bianca can be seen in that extended security camera footage brandishing a knife while walking around the store, scoping out potential victims. And then, like I showed you at the beginning, towards the end, she identifies the mother and her son for some reason and follows them out to the parking lot where she stabbed them. Disturbingly, in a recent court appearance, Bianca can actually be seen smiling, laughing, and giggling as charges of murder are read against her. And like I said before, it's unknown why she carried out this attack, and prosecutors right now are saying this was a completely random act of violence. I'm going to keep you guys updated on the story here, but if you want to hear more true crime stories, listen to the podcast that I co-host with my wife Courtney, Murder in America. It's available on all streaming platforms.
Right before I got HPV from picking up confetti off the floor? So is HPV an STD? Yes. Can you get HPV without being sexually active? Yes. Just from holding hands? Yep. Holding a shopping cart? Getting your nails done? Walking barefoot in the gym? Yep, in fact, this is the most common way to get it. HPV is transmitted anytime there's a human-to-human contact. And the most common presentation is a wart on your finger or a wart on your foot. Sanitize your surroundings and do not walk barefoot.
I may get caught right away. Basically, if I get caught, I'm just going to shoot myself. So, I mean, I could basically be dead in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. I don't know. It's a chance at this point.
The video you just saw was made by murderer Peter Keller, who in 2012 murdered his wife and daughter before taking his own life. Now, in the lead up to murdering his family, Peter actually made a series of disturbing vlogs. He took a handy cam out with him into the woods and showed him preparing for something. He actually was creating an underground bunker stocked with all sorts of supplies like candy and beans. And during these videos, he talks to the camera very candidly, and it's some really disturbing stuff. The videos offer a glimpse into the mind of a killer who's on edge. He didn't know at the time whether or not he could actually follow through with murdering his wife and daughter, but unfortunately, he did. On April 22nd, 2012, after constructing the bunker in the woods unbeknownst to his family, Peter shot both his wife, Lynette, and his daughter, Kayleen, in the face with a silenced weapon before he set his house on fire. He then fled to the underground bunker and was able to evade capture by the police for a whopping 6 days. But once authorities figured out where Peter was, they surrounded the bunker with a SWAT team, and that's when he fired the fatal shot into his own head, taking his own life. In his video recordings, Peter talks about how it'll be exciting to live out in the bunker, and he discusses his fantasy of robbing banks and pharmacies and living on the run. But his run didn't last that long, and he left behind so many questions and a trail of blood and sadness. If you want to hear more stories like this, listen to the podcast Murder in America that I co-host with my wife Courtney. It's available now on all streaming platforms.